Hey guys, welcome back to Scents of South Jersey with me, Kellen, for another fragrance video. Today's going to be another installment of the series Super Random, Super Cheap, where the fragrances are completely random. There's no rhyme or reason to the season or style of fragrance, and of course, they are very inexpensive. So today, we're going to be looking at one of the oldest fragrances in my collection in terms of when it initially came out. It was originally from a company, Schulten, and now it is from Procter & Gamble. I'm sure you can guess it. It is the original Old Spice for men. So what we're going to do, we're going to break down the fragrance in terms of its presentation, talk about its notes, go over its performance and my experience using and wearing the fragrance, and then I'll give my overall thoughts and of course my overall rating. Remember, in the series Super Random, Super Cheap, presentation will not affect the overall score. Before we begin to take a look at Old Spice, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe to support the channel if you enjoy the content that I create. And of course, if you have an Instagram, check out the Scents of South Jersey Instagram page for news and updates on the channel, photos of fragrances from my collection, and daily story posts about my scent of the day. Let's take a look at Old Spice. Okay, taking a look at the presentation, I have here the aftershave splash and the eau de cologne spray. So let's take a look at the box here. You know, it's the typical Old Spice. You got the sailboat. This one displays the spray, the atomizer on top of the bottle, where this is just the splash on top. You got the star there with a little bit of some sort of, brand code. And then on the back, you have some verbiage. They got a funny little saying here saying, if your grandfather hadn't worn it, you wouldn't exist. And it says that both on the cologne and on the aftershave splash. On either side, they do show a picture of the bottle. This is going to be the aftershave splash, and this is the spray. This is 180 ml, and this one is a 125 ml too. So you get a lot for very little. The presentation is inexpensive looking, very drugstore-esque. Let's take a look at the bottle here. So this is, again, this is the new release. This is not the vintage. This is the plastic bottle, little plastic cap, red atomizer there, no crimp. We'll see the distribution. It is my scent of the day, so I'll spray some on. Just comes out in a nice puff. Not the best atomizer, but also not terrible. I've absolutely seen worse. You can take a look at the back of the bottle on the bottom and take a look at it again too. So these can be found at Walmart. I think that's where I got mine. And of course, CVS, Walgreens, etc. My CVS, however, only carries the splash aftershave. It does not carry the cologne. That's why I went to Walmart. So you can see here, this is sort of a frustrating cap. Remember, I shaved, and this was my scent of the day today, and I used the splash. And you can see here, it's a little bit difficult to get in, but you do get a decent amount in your hand. It doesn't matter if it spills because it's so inexpensive. So relatively inexpensive looking presentation, but a very classic presentation for Old Spice. Okay, let's go over the notes for Old Spice. Again, this is the original Old Spice, so the notes are going to be the same as what's listed online. This is the reformulation. Obviously, this originally was 1938, so this is back when they used to put a lot of notes in fragrances. So in the top, you have nutmeg, star anise, aldehydes, orange, and lemon. And then in the heart of the fragrance, the middle of the fragrance, cinnamon, carnation, pimento, geranium, heliotrope, and jasmine. And then in the base, you have benzoin, musk, vanilla, tonka bean, cedar, and ambergris. So there's a lot of notes in here. Essentially what I pick up on, you get a little bit of nutmeg, the orange and lemon in the beginning, and then you get cinnamon mixed in with some florals. And then in the base, I think you do smell a little bit of the musk. Other than that, the other notes that are infused in there, I personally can't pick up on an individual level. But again, it's a citrus, nutty, floral, musky fragrance. That's what Old Spice is in general. If you were going to generalize the smell of this fragrance, so the notes that I can pick up on are just that. So the performance for Old Spice for men, the original, surprisingly is not bad for like an $8 scent. It is really cheap. It's not going to give you beast mode performance where it's going to last all day. I think I get just under a work day with it, which is surprisingly good. I do, however, smell it very strong. It projects very well in the first hour to 2 hours on my skin, and then I get whiffs of it throughout the day. It does, stick to clothing, but I'm getting that floral sort of musky smell throughout the day, the spiciness of the fragrance I'll get, and then towards the end of the day, it's more so of a skin scent. And again, this is a work day, so think 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. applying it at like 8:30 before I leave the home. So not terrible performance, but not the best. But again, for the price, getting 5 to 6 hours on a scent is actually pretty good. All right, so it's time for my overall thoughts on Old Spice, the original. Again, this is a combination of my thoughts on the aftershave and the fragrance. So it's a timeless scent, right? This one reminds me, especially the aftershave, of being like in 8th, 9th grade when I first started shaving. And this was the bottle that I had. I would go to the CVS that I could walk to it from my house, And, this is what I would utilize. And especially when I was in ninth grade, my high school required you to shave. So you had to have clean shaven face. And, my beard grows pretty quickly. And I think because I was shaving at such a young age, that's why it grows in thick. So I did use at least 2 or 3 bottles of this, before I had, other ones like Brut, and then started getting different fragrances. However, this one, it is a timeless scent. I don't think from what I remember from, ninth grade to now, the scent has changed, in my opinion, that much. It's still a spicy, floral, musky scent. I think, it's a perfect daily fragrance for someone that, doesn't really care that much about fragrances or only has 1 or 2, doesn't want to spend a lot of money, but wants a masculine fragrance, one that people would recognize and one that's going to be around forever and has been around for a long time too. So it's really nice in that sense that it's inexpensive. It smells nice. It's masculine. It does decent on the performance, and you can have it for, under $10. Old Spice now, if you think about the commercials and the different products, they have such a huge array of products, body sprays, body washes, deodorants. They sort of, I think, now sort of advertise or cater to a younger crowd. This one is sort of like the black sheep in the Old Spice family, in a sense that it's the most classic, it's the old school. They can't really do away with it because it was their original fragrance, so to do so would almost be an insult in general to anyone who's ever used it before. But I think they focus more on their fragrances that smell along the lines of like the Axe body spray style, that type of thing. However, this one does stand out to me, and I enjoy it. And I think it's pretty much safe in any situation. It's easy to wear to work. Ages that would appreciate this are probably going to be late 20s, 30s and up, maybe even older than that. I happen to be a fan of classics, so it's easy for me to wear. I think most seasons is appropriate. Maybe super hot days, the floral muskiness might be a little stuffy. However, if you're working indoors, it doesn't really matter. But it's an easy reach. It's inexpensive. It smells nice. It's been around forever, and it will continue to do so. And I appreciate Old Spice as just a quick, easy reach cologne that smells nice and, again, is going to cost you nothing. Okay, so it's time for the overall rating for Old Spice. So let's go back and start with the presentation. Keep in mind that will not affect the overall score of the fragrance, but I do want to rate it because I always enjoy giving a presentation rate. So let's go back to the box, right? Again, it has that kind of thin cardboard drugstore look to it. They try to add some humor with the saying on the back, the blurb about had your grandfather not have worn Old Spice, he would have never gotten laid and you would have never been born. So I can appreciate that, and I do like that they haven't switched it up. They didn't try to make it any flashier. They're just keeping with the simple look for it, and it does have a timeless just presentation to it. So we'll go ahead and give that a 6 out of 10 for the presentation. Again, that will not affect the overall score. When it comes to the performance for Old Spice, I'm getting between 5 and 6 hours. And after that point, it really is more of a skin scent, or I can't notice it anymore. So we'll go with a 5.5 out of 10 for the performance. And as far as the scent goes, it smells good, right? I don't love Old Spice. There are other classics that I, prefer, especially in the drugstore line. I think I prefer, like, to me, Brut, I think smells a little bit better. This one sort of has this floral sunscreen scent to it, which smells nice. It's fresh. You can wear it anywhere. It is masculine. But when this is done, however long it takes me to complete it, it will not be something I'm going to go run and replace. So, again, I did use the aftershave when I was younger, so that's a part of it too. There's some nostalgia there for me. But as far as the scent goes, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for Old Spice. That's going to be a combined of the performance and the scent score, 5.75. So we'll round up and give it a 6 out of 10 overall for Old Spice. All right, guys, that's a wrap. That's a review. Super random, super cheap. This time in this episode, it is Old Spice. So let me know what your thoughts are on the review. Let me know what your thoughts are on Old Spice. Do you own this fragrance? Is this a nostalgic one to you? Do you like it? Do you like it more now than you used to, or vice versa? Do you think you used to like it and you wear it now and it's not something that you care to wear that often anymore? I would love to hear your thoughts on the review, on the fragrance. What other super random, super cheap drugstore fragrances could I review? Let me know in the comment section. You guys know I always appreciate all of the interaction. And thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and check out the Scents of South Jersey Instagram page. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Take care.